Thanks for having me here today. It's great to be here. The topic today for me is adapt or die. It's a topic pretty close to my heart because it's something I've had to learn along the way, and I'll give you a bit of backstory quickly. I came out of the radio industry and wanted to buy my own advertising agency. William would have punched me in the face because I was one of those people that was selling those messages. And in 2005, I bought a little agency in Newcastle, and it was a good little business. Had half a dozen people working there, and we were producing some good work and picking up some good clients around New South Wales. But it was probably also the worst time to buy an advertising agency because things were changing, and they were changing rather rapidly. And it snuck up on us, and then I think around 2005, 2006 was the tipping point where things started to change. And I quickly learned that we needed to adapt as a business or we might die. And that sort of became a bit of a mantra for me when I started talking to clients, and a lot of the clients I had to leave behind because they weren't willing to adapt. And I think a lot of people in the room here are probably dealing with people like that every day of the week. So in a way, I'm about to present you with the argument that maybe you need to go back with, and it's a bit of a wake-up call. So let's look at how we got here. And I go back to Google really, and that's where things really started to change. In about 1997, Google was invented by some kids in Silicon Valley. It took a few years to really start getting some traction, but by the early 2000s, search was becoming fairly important, and it was changing the way we found information. In 2004, we've also had a movie. Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook in a college dorm as a bit of a prank. And from that, it became a very, very, very big social network. And I doubt there's anyone in the room that's not on Facebook right now. A year later, YouTube was launched. I'm sure there's been plenty of talk about YouTube over the last 2 days in video content. But YouTube grew very, very quickly, and obviously Google bought YouTube as well. It's the second biggest search engine in the world. It's bigger than Bing and other things out there. So YouTube became very, very important. At this stage, I'm starting to go, wow, things are changing. A year later, Twitter was born. It took another year for Twitter to take off. It took off at a conference in South by Southwest in about March 2007. And at that stage, there were all the right people in the right room at the right time, and they started tweeting and talking about what's going on. And now we're doing it today all the time. So Twitter came along. I think I joined Twitter about March 2008, so it was still fairly early on in Australia, but we went, this is pretty interesting. Another key invention around this time was the iPhone. It's the first real smartphone, and I think everyone here today is using a smartphone, and that was a real game changer. And that changed the way we started to consume media in a very, very big way, and it started to bring all of these other social networks together. And that's a critical point. Somebody just asked about Google+. It was launched in June or July 2011. And it's not much of a social network from our point of view, but it does have its place, and it does do some things, and it's good for helping search. So these are all the things that happened over the last 15 years that has started to change the game. That things have been accelerating as we've been moving along. At the same time, if you're a traditional advertising agency or a traditional marketer like many of you here, some of the decisions are pretty easy. Most of our audiences watched TV. There were 5 free-to-air channels in Australia in 2009. Today, there's 16 free-to-air channels, and we've also got Foxtel. And then we've also got other things interrupting, like Google TV and Apple TV coming along, and BitTorrent and things like that. So suddenly, that cozy existence that we had as marketers and doing advertising is starting to be interrupted. And where we can make some really simple choices to get a message out to a large number of people, those choices are becoming fragmented and not quite as cost effective as they used to be. What else is happening? We've got the national broadband coming. That's going to really, really stir things up because the capabilities that are going to come out of having high-speed broadband in Australia will really shake things up for all of us. So, we really have to start saying, what's next? If we still haven't got our heads around having a basic website, then watch out, guys, you're going to be left behind. This has all led to the decline of outbound marketing. Now, outbound marketing is what we used to do. It's what I did as an advertising agency in 2005. Make ads, book airtime, not give anything very measurable to my clients, and take a commission check. And then outbound marketing started to be interrupted, and because we've got so much choice and so much fragmentation, suddenly the attention, we're really vying for people's attention. So, in America, there's 200 million Americans not on the do not call list now. 44% of direct mail isn't opened. 91% of email users have unsubscribed from company emails, and 86% of people skip television ads through time shifting or just flicking around like my kids do. It's led to total disruption. It's changed the game. And it means we've had to really reassess how we do marketing, how we reach an audience, or how we be found by an audience. Now we start to get into the game changes and how much disruption is shaking up industries. And this doesn't apply to the travel industry, the tourism industry, but rest assured, it's coming. The change is coming. It will affect everybody in some way. A lot of these companies didn't see these things coming, but these industries, but look what happened. Now, global smartphone and tablet shipments exceeded PCs in 2010. We've had connectivity has been totally reimagined. It used to be copper wires and under the coalition, it used to be copper wires, but now we're mobile devices, and we're very, very, very transportable now in connectivity. So landlines were surpassed by mobiles in 2002 after 125 years. It's a big change, significant. Look at knowledge. The old Encyclopedia Britannica that families used to have on the bookshelf, and it was quite an industry. Now we've got something like Wikipedia, and we've got crowdsourced knowledge. Someone may question the viability of some of the knowledge or the accuracy, but it's the default these days. So 244 years in, Encyclopedia Britannica went out of print in 2012. Another industry change. The reimagination of photography, I know there's been a lot going on with Instagram over the last couple of days. We used to have the old Kodak Brownie and standing SLRs and whatnot. Now we've got, everyone carries a camera in their pocket, and we've got devices, we've got apps like Hipstermatic and Camera Plus and Instagram where we can enhance and share and get social and really amplify what we're doing with photography. So 169 years in, standalone compact camera shipments were surpassed by smartphones in 2008. So suddenly there's another industry totally changed. So I've got some cousins that own a Kodak store in Newcastle, and a digital, and they were doing digital printing. They're all excited about digital printing. You can guess how it all ended in tears. They're not in business anymore. It's another industry that's got wiped out. Even things like navigation and traffic info. We used to have maps not that long ago. We still unfold the paper maps. Now and then we've got GPSs in our car and whatnot. But that's being surpassed now by applications on our phones, and these are going to start getting built into the cars. And apps like Waze, which tells you what. So I used Waze on the way down here actually today because there's an accident on the highway coming in here, and the roads were blocked, and it's telling me there's an accident up here, this is what's happening. It's aggregating data from everywhere and telling you what's going on. And so after only 20 years, portable navigation device unit shipments were surpassed by Waze user editions in 2012. So there's a short lifespan. It's getting shorter and shorter all the time. We all know about the newspaper industry and how that's changed. Twitter has been really big for spreading the news quickly, and we get real-time updates, and the news can't keep up with it. They refer to Twitter now to try and keep up with it. We've had the reimagination of magazines, hard copy magazines. Now we can just build a flipboard ourselves in seconds and get any information that we want, anything we want to subscribe to, just flick through it. So there's another industry that's changing a lot, and it's getting very hard for them to sell advertising when there's this much disruption going on. The recruiting industry, I've got a website that's in the recruiting industry, and I also work closely with one of the largest recruitment firms in Australia. And they're seeing massive changes again. They used to be all face to face, and they had a database, and they match up with another database and get paid a good commission. Now, and they'd hold events and whatnot. Now we've got something like LinkedIn, which just starts connecting everyone immediately, and we can do background checks on people. We can look at their histories, and then we can dig into other social networks to find out those selfies that they posted. But I don't know about that guy at State of Origin last night, how his job prospects are going. So the bottom line is we've had a lot of change over the last 15 years, a lot of change, and it's shaken up whole industries. Some have just disappeared, some have had to be reinvented, some have been adapting. But this is only the beginning, and this is the key point you need to take home and explain to everyone around you, your constituents, the people you work with, your bosses. We're really in the first innings of a long game here. We're really quite amateurish about social and digital marketing at the moment. The magnitude of change will be stunning in the next decade. We've got near ubiquitous high-speed wireless internet coming to developed countries. Global technology on an unprecedented scale. We've got fearless entrepreneurs just dreaming up the craziest ideas and delivering them. There's a lot of capital available to help these entrepreneurs bring things to the market. And we've got very inexpensive devices and services available to us now. Some of them are free, and they work great. Things like Twitter and Facebook. So we've got the ability to reach millions of new users in record time, and it's accelerating all the time. This was unimaginable 10 years ago. Most of it was unimaginable 5 years ago. So things are really speeding up, change is speeding up. So what's going to happen into the future? That's what we have to be concerned about. When we come to your industry, when we come to travel and tourism, the mobile phone is probably having the greatest impact because it's the one that brings all of these networks together and makes it so easy for us. So there's some key stats here. 3 in 4 active travellers use a mobile device while they're on the move, and 45% of own a mobile device that allows them to browse the internet. So they're searching all the time for what's around them. 2/3 say that they like to explore, shop and book travel activities via their mobile devices. While on the other side we've got smaller amounts that say to book whole trips using mobile devices. That's going to grow and grow and grow. I think by the end of this year it's expected that web traffic is going to be 40% mobile. So it's just growing so quickly. And so if we're not thinking about mobile in our marketing, then we're letting ourselves down. We've got to have that as part of our strategy. Our sites have to be actually read on a mobile phone. What are we doing when somebody gets out at the airport? 75% of smartphones connect to free airport Wi-Fi, and here's what they're finding: they get flight information services. They're looking at the wait times. There's the time to reach the departure gate, airport parking, things like that. What other information can you be delivering to them? Consumers are responding to advertising and posts by companies these days. Doesn't all have to be personal stuff. And they'll do it on social media. Somebody said earlier, Facebook's basically an advertising platform. They're not far wrong. It's becoming an advertising platform for sure. But these days, social is the top 8 driver of traffic for 78% of travel sites, and I think that's actually quite low. I'm surprised it's only top 8 because that just indicates to me that those travel sites haven't really thought out the social side of it very well yet. Most of the sites that I'm involved in across many industries, social is usually the number 3 or 4 driver of traffic to their site. So I'd say these sites just haven't got it all worked out yet, but it's top 8 already, and it's going to grow and grow and grow. So the big question is, what should you do? That panel just before started to answer some of that, and I think I want to give you the minimum standard that you should be taking home, and talking to people in your community about some of the small tourism operators and the tourism boards and your bosses. There's a minimum minimum that has to be delivered. And if you're not doing this, you're already out of the game. You've got to start moving fast. You have to become an inbound marketer. We talked about outbound earlier and how outbound is becoming a lot less effective. So an inbound marketer is the opposite. Has anyone heard of inbound marketing? Yeah, your hands go up. So whereas outbound was a one-way conversation, it wasn't a conversation, it was just one-way messaging, broadcast, TV, and press, and so on and so forth. Inbound marketing it's interactive, it's two-way, it's social. The customers come to you, they come via search engines, they come via referrals and social media. So as opposed to you blasting them with expensive advertising. In inbound marketing, the marketers provide value. So we're actually trying to be helpful. We're trying to provide advice or tips or suggestions and or add to the experience that you might be having. The old outbound advertisers really weren't providing value. They were trying to get value for their money spent. An inbound marketer tries to entertain or educate because they know that if they can get your attention in that way, that they can entertain you, give you some ideas, or help you out, and they're going to get trust. They're going to earn trust, and that's really, really important. And so it's a transaction of sorts, but they're trying to get your attention. But you usually find it's been endorsed. It's inbound because you're coming to them. So, step one. This is the minimum standard. Every tourism operator, every business should have a content-friendly, mobile-friendly website. It's really quite simple. Now, I've heard a lot of questions about platforms, and there was a great question there earlier on about what about when Facebook or Twitter becomes the next MySpace. Possibly inevitable that in the next 10 years, the world's biggest social network won't be quite as popular as it used to be. Or we'll get tired of it, or the next big thing will come along. It happens. The main point is don't put all your bickies in one basket. Don't put all your media on something like Facebook or Twitter or even Instagram and just say, okay, that's us marketing, it's out there. You need to own it. It needs to be on your platform. It needs to be in your business. So I always try to advise everyone to have a mobile-friendly, content-friendly website. That's your hub. That's the heartbeat of your business. Content's what it's all about. You've got to have great content. Another person asked earlier, I'm glad that panel went before we actually gave me things to talk about. The person before asked about, what's the train of thought now? About hosting everything on one site. And don't do it on Facebook only, don't do it on Twitter only, don't do it on Instagram only. Host it on your own website, put out good content. If you've got great content, people will come to you. If you want to get traffic coming to the site or get those people engaged in when you're trying to crowdsource content, then you need to put extraordinary content out in the first place. If you're putting average content out, you're not going to get an audience. Some people say, oh, I've only got so many followers on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Well, it's probably because there's nothing exciting there yet. You need to get extraordinary content. And in order to do that, sometimes you need to reach out to people in the community that are already producing it. An example for me is that my agency actually has a website in Newcastle called Urban Insider, and it started as a bit of a hobby. And we thought we would try to crowdsource great content from around the town and write great posts about what's going on in the Newcastle area. And we thought along the way we might get how to monetize it or something. But the end result was this became a bigger website than any tourism website in the region. This site gets more traffic than just about any site. I think it's about the third most traffic site in the Hunter Valley. And we don't spend any money on it. We have a couple of interns work on it. We have people around the town write for it, and they volunteer to write for it. They contribute good content. We reached out to some really good photographers
and some really good bloggers, some people doing video. They started putting great content on there. They saw that was going to help them as well in drawing the attention to them. It's another link back to their site, and drove traffic to them and raised their profile, because the collective is usually more powerful than the single. So you need to have this content-friendly site. It's really easy to do. It can be done for free. WordPress is a great platform. There's plenty of platforms out there, but if you wanted to start doing something next week, just jump on WordPress and set up a site, and you can start putting really good content on WordPress really quickly, and it's really easy to use. Any business person should be able to use it. So the good thing about WordPress is it's very search engine friendly. It's fairly mobile compatible. Usually formats nicely to mobile devices. If you keep it simple, don't make it too complicated. And there's themes already built for you. They're already out there. That's the place to go and make your content in. That's the place to host your content, not on Facebook. Step 2, set your information free. So really, I'm not talking about social at this stage, I'm talking about content. Set your information free. I think this is key. Most organisations I talk to are very secretive. They think they've got IP, or they think they've got this great bit of information. They don't want to share it with anyone. They keep it in the filing cabinet. So this is actually how I got into blogging in the first place, and how my blog started to become quite popular and controversial in the industry. I was in the advertising industry. I was getting sent data every week by the TV stations, the radio stations, and whatnot, saying here's how we're rating, and here's the most popular show, and all this great information. And what was expected was that agencies all got this information, and then we would go off to our clients and just put it and say, look, we've got the secrets, here's all the answers, and we would broadcast it, and it was just for our clients. And we show our clients the information, and they make buying decisions on it. I decided, well, it's free information. There's nothing stopping me doing something with this. So I started blogging all the information, and TV stations sent me all the data. I'd start posting it, and I started setting the information free, and everyone went, "Oh, you can't do that." I said, "Well, why not?" And then I said, "I guess you can then." And but the result was I started getting lots of traffic, and there was a broader audience of people that were not necessarily going to buy advertising tomorrow, but they were interested in what was going on. I became the go-to guy for all this information, and it was housed on my site. I'd share it out on other networks, and before I knew it, my site became quite popular. And so I said, "Oh, what other information have I got?" And started digging around and setting it free. And so we got everything out of the filing cabinets and got it out there. And I tell that to my clients all the time. Unless it's IP that really affects your business, most information is better off being set free. Put it out there. If your opposition aren't publishing it, publish it. It'll get your attention. It's going to put you on other people's radar. And that's what you want to start with. You need that good information. You need to set it free. The next thing you need to do is optimise that information. So I'm a little bit passionate about search engine optimisation because I see it drives so much traffic, and it's crucial to inbound marketing. So once again, if you've got a WordPress website, it's really search friendly. You can buy plugins and all-in-one SEO and things like that. That will optimise the content that you put on the site. It may not be overly strategic, but it means that you start turning up more and more in searches for that long tail of interesting information. So once again, the Urban Insider website that we run in Newcastle, we don't do a lot of strategic SEO around it, but everyone I run into that says when they come to Newcastle and they start jumping on Google to find out what should we do this weekend, or what are the best Chinese restaurants, or what are the best Thai restaurants, or which are the best craft beer cafes, or things like that. They Google it, and guess what? I've got an article on that website that talks about it, and they always find we rank first for all that information. We get all the traffic. So it's only been basically optimised. It's not overly strategic. We don't spend a lot of time on it, but we own the information that's out in the marketplace. So we get the traffic, and then once the traffic's on our site, that's when we can do something with it. That's when we've got the opportunity to make some money out of it or push people in the right direction. So don't underestimate search engine optimization. 97% of people begin their online search for a product or service using a search engine. It's ubiquitous. We've got it, and it's usually Google too, so I think Google's 93% of the market in Australia, of the search market. So you need to make sure that all that great content you're setting free is being found in search. It will drive so much traffic. Most of the sites I'm involved with, over 50% of their traffic comes from organic search. The other thing is, if you're really good at search and you're ranking the top 3 for any particular search, you're going to get, if you're first place, you're going to get 42% of the click-through rate. If you're in second position, you'll get 11% of the click-through. If you're in third position, you get 8% of the click-through. By the bottom of the first page, 3% of the click-through. Second page, 0.8%, game over. So you need to be on the first page for important search terms for your industry and your business. Don't underestimate search. Now, this is where social media comes in. Social media also affects search these days. Google and Bing have changed the game a fair bit, and I think this is the main reason Google Plus exists, is to change the way their search was being used, because they're really scared of Facebook. They think Facebook's going to one day take over their business. They've got the search graph as well. And so you need to integrate social media into your sites so that you can share that information. Yes, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of social networking sites. You need to find the right one for your industry. Yes, Instagram has become a really good one. Pinterest is probably very, very good for the travel industry. Twitter and Facebook are hard to ignore. LinkedIn, maybe not. It depends on what vertical you're working in and what you're trying to achieve. Some of the other ones like Stumble, a lot of sort of come and gone and come back again. Flickr's struggling. Tumblr's very, very popular at the moment. And Google Plus is in there as well. The main thing is, when I say enable sharing, if you go to most blog sites or most WordPress sites or most good websites, at the top of any post or page where there's that vital information, you'll see the social media sharing buttons. And all it means is that you're allowing me to come to your site and go, click, that was great, I really like that information. I'm going to share it with my audience and with my friends or followers or whatever, and suddenly amplify your message. So that message that you posted up there 6 months ago and optimised, set free, and is sitting on your website, and suddenly it gets a bit more exposure, and I go in there and say tweet, and off it goes, and it can reach a fair few people. And some of those people see it, and they'll share it, and it'll reach a few more people. So same with Facebook, same with LinkedIn. So you need to enable sharing. You need to make it as easy as possible for other people to come to your site and share your information. It's pretty basic, and it doesn't even need a strategy on your part, it just needs to be done. This one is a no-brainer, but it's so often not done. Have a call to action. I don't know how many times I go to a site where there's might be some good information, I found them in search, somebody referred them to me on Twitter or Facebook, and I went, oh, that's interesting, I want to check that out. I get there, there's no call to action. You've just wasted that traffic. What do I do next? There's no guidance. So any good site has calls to action on most pages, and a call to action might be read more about this particular topic. It might be that simple. Or it might be subscribe to our newsletter, stay up to date with the latest information. Or it might be buy now. So it depends on the information. And don't be lazy and have one stock standard call to action, like email us here or read more. You need, if you've gone to the trouble of publishing some great content, be it video, great images, or a podcast, or even a blog post, you've gone to all that trouble putting it out there, set that information free, and then you've optimised it, which can be time consuming, and you're starting to get some really good search traffic, and you've got social networking, and you're sharing that information out, you're getting all this traffic. That's that's just the start. Once they get to your website, what are you doing with that traffic? How are you converting them into potential customers or fans or whatever it might be? So have a specific call to action for that particular piece of content that is relevant. So actually, I'm working with a startup at the moment in Newcastle. He's going through an accelerator program, and just jot down Newsmaven, and what they're doing. If your organisation or tourism board is running good content, you've got a site with good content and whatnot, that you're able to plug in something like Newsmaven, which almost does the what to do next thing for you, and it scans your site for relevant information and suggests what the next bit of information that you might want to read is. So if you go to sydneymorningherald.com.au/SoMeT, you'll see something like it at the bottom of every column, and it also gives you an opportunity to monetize your traffic, because you can put referred posts to third-party sites. Every time somebody clicks on that, your board can make some money, or your site can make some money. But that's an aside. That's a good way of saying what's next, what to do next with that traffic that comes onto the site. So this is the process I would encourage anyone who's online, who has a website and is trying to do inbound properly, to follow. One, create content. We've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes. Create good content. The last couple of days we've been talking about creating great content. You need to post the content on your site, then post it, use Instagram, use YouTube, use all the tools around you, but don't use them exclusively. Also make sure it's hosted on your sites. Post the content, optimize the content, the search, promote the content using your social networks, the relevant social networks for your audience. Get that content out there. That's where you really start to see it moving along. And the great thing about doing that, if you've got, you get a bit of traction in the social networks, you'll find that affects your search rankings down the track, because that's about 5% of the algorithm these days with Google. So it's a good reason to get social. And enable that sharing, ask for action, get people to do something when they come to your site. If the traffic just comes in and leaves again, you've got these bounce rates, you've wasted so much time and effort. You need to get them to opt in. And sometimes the easiest opt-in might be join our newsletter, and just get their email address. Don't ask for too much information, make it as easy as possible. Every extra bit of information you ask for is more friction, and you'll lose them. So I think minimum, get their email address, maybe get their name. If you can get their email address, then you've got a database, then you've got something to work with. And you can go back to that audience saying, hey, you're interested in this information, here's what's going on. Don't sell them all the time, but get them in the loop. Then start monitoring. So I'm pretty sure you've been talking about analytics at some stage over the last 2 days. If you're not monitoring what's going on, if you're not looking at your Twitter feed, or you're looking at your social analytics or your web analytics, then once again you're sort of probably wasting your time. You need to know what's going on. You need to study the results. You need to say, is that Twitter campaign working for me? Is all this activity working for me? If not, maybe you need to cut the losses and move on. Is this search strategy working for me? Is Facebook driving more traffic? So we go into most sites that we work with clients on. We don't go in with an assumption that this network's going to be better for you than that network, because we don't know. And yes, there's some guesses in there. Yes, Facebook should be better in tourism than that, and Instagram's good. But you can't just go in and say definitively that this is going to be the best, and we can't say that something better isn't going to come along the way. So if we're studying the results and you look at your analytics on the site, suddenly you'll notice that, wow, we're getting a lot of traffic from Facebook, or a particular post on Facebook delivered a lot of traffic to us. And you learn from that. You go, if that content worked, maybe we need to produce a bit more content like that, because that's the stuff that's getting their attention. You get other stuff that, I don't know how many times I've posted things on my blog that I thought, wow, this is great, I spent hours and hours
and writing it, and thought a lot about it, and this is going to work its brains out, and deliver tons of traffic and glory. Nothing. And it'd be tumbleweeds rolling through the blog and no traffic at all. And then something that I throw together in 3 minutes, or somebody sends me a silly photo or something, and it goes nuts. So you just don't know sometimes. And if you study the results, you start to understand that certain things work and certain things don't work for your particular business or industry. So your social media to-do list is really, really quite simple. Dedicate someone to social networking. It can't be a part-time strategy. It's important to get involved and be monitoring it all the time. At the very least, join LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Now, this applies to most industries. Get involved in those at the very least. You'll find one or two that work better for you than others. Go harder with those ones. And then follow that 360 plan that I was talking about. If you do that, put content in the middle, post it on your own sites, and then share it out via all the other networks, you're going to succeed. You'll get results, you'll get traffic, and you'll get customers. Thank you.